Hello, this is Right Side Trader. Today is November 8th, 2025, and this is my weekly market review, where I'm reviewing the NASDAQ 100, that's QQQ, on a quarterly chart, monthly chart, weekly chart, and a daily chart. This is all for educational purposes only, no trade recommendation, because as we all know, trading is risky. You can lose money at trading, so please check with your financial advisor, please check with your significant other, and make sure trading is something that is suitable for you. I'll give you something right up front. I know a lot of times people don't get what I'm showing them. I know it takes, every now and then the light bulb comes on for some. And that has happened in the past, and that's why things have changed up a little bit here, the way I do things and all. And that's why you don't see any indicators on the screen anymore, and other than my pivot lines and a couple of moving averages that everybody should be using, and a lot of people use. But this is a lot of the stuff that I go over here is some of the Wally has strategies and all to go along and indicators to go along that are really, really, really pretty good if you know how to use them and all. And based on if you put everything together, the way he uses them is really good. It's some of the same stuff that I do and all. We use a lot of the same stuff. We both kind of like went to classes together, and we both kind of studied the market. He studied it probably way more than I do, but I studied it enough just so I could stay on the right side of the market and keep my accounts going in the right direction. That's about it. That's all that really matters, and but what I'm also wanting to get at, last week, doji at the top, the gap, evening star, everything bearish engulfing at the top. What happened this week was no surprise to if you are paying attention to, the market. That's all I can say. I don't have any magic here. All I do is show you what I see, and based on what I see, kind of what I expect. Nothing is 100%, but sometimes the stars do align, and things do work out. That's all I really want to say. But that's enough of that. Let's jump over to this market review and let's maximize this quarterly chart and resize it. I hadn't gotten to the whole resize thing yet. And what we see, again, now we're seeing more and more. It couldn't cross that yearly R2. And we're seeing more and more wick here on this quarterly chart. And it gets where you have guys that say, how much of a wick should we see? Should it be the same size of the body, 50% of the body? It doesn't really matter. It's a wick at the top, and it's looking like a doji now. It looks like a doji. It must be a doji. It is a doji. Now you're getting a doji at the top. This is not a good sign here on this quarterly chart. That's letting us know that we got a lot of selling pressure here at this top. We couldn't cross an R2 on this bigger time picture. And then if you start seeing stuff on your bigger time frame, you really better start paying attention to what's happening in the market. That's all I can say, and I'm on the wrong thing here at all. Let me go to my thing, but you're going to see the same thing on the NASDAQ too. Again, the NASDAQ crossed that R2 and came back down below that R2 and all. And you're seeing a doji at the top on a high time frame. So this is not good, at this time. And for the bulls, for me, that's the whole thing. And I did take my little hit, but I get where instead of buying puts, I start selling puts on things that I like. And I'll get where I roll them. If they get into the money a little bit, I roll it and collect some more money on it. And that's my whole strategy. And positions that I have, I sell calls on my positions and all. And sometimes I sell them kind of deep if I expect it to go down, and I don't mind losing it if things do surprise me. But that's my whole strategy. That's my biggest strategy on the larger stuff that I have. And that's that. Get out of that. Because let's go down here to this monthly chart. On this monthly chart, we are seeing red. That's the whole thing. Now we're seeing red. We're seeing a piercing pattern at the top. It couldn't cross a quarterly R2, and this market is looking like it's gone below an R1 and all, and we're getting a little bit of a wick pushback. So it could be done, at this point on the drop that we have gone to see, but it could come all the way down here and kiss this 9-10 moving average before it goes back up, and that'll be close to a support 1 level. I really don't expect that. You know, we can need to get some good news to get this market to turn around. But if we don't get that good news, we definitely could come down here to pivot and bounce there, and that'll be more so what I would expect if this thing continue going down if it's not reversing at this time. But let's go ahead and go down to this weekly chart and see what we see on this weekly chart. Let me zoom in here. See on this weekly chart what we did come back down here and close this gap. Number one, we came all the way back here in this area where, like I said, I didn't think it would go below this low right here if it came down. And it came down to a support 1 level here, a little bit below a support 1 level, and we've gotten a bounce here on this weekly picture. These are monthly pivots. Let me just show you that these are monthly pivots, though, on this monthly pivot here. So, again, above pivot, though, stay above pivot. So by the end of the month, we might be back above pivot when we get the news that we need to get. And we did make a bounce this week because this was a pretty big drop, but at this time we have a bearish engulfing at the right location at the top on a weekly time frame. But we've seen this before. We get these bearish looking patterns on this weekly time frame, and they don't follow through. And this one can come down here to maybe this thing jumped out of here, and we created a little bit maybe of a demand level down here, or it can come all the way down here to this demand level here if it wants to continue to drop. We don't get the good news that we expect to get. But I really don't expect it to drop below, what's that, 590 in this area right here, the low of this candle here. Because last time it came down here, because of this demand that pushed this thing up, it got pushed up again. But now, right where it's at, I'm really kind of expecting a reversal, even though we have a bearish pattern here on this weekly picture. That's what I got to say there, But let's go ahead and go down to this daily chart, see this daily noise. And this was a funny looking pattern this week. This is Thursday, Friday. Thursday, Friday, Monday. We was getting these red candles trying to go up. And it couldn't break that previous week high, So this was a strange pattern to me, seeing this how it was doing this. When I was looking at it Monday, and I was looking back at this, and then we finally got this gap down, and then I kind of like, oh, it's done. It's below. It couldn't stay above pivot. It's below pivot. It's going to stay below pivot. How low is this thing going to go? It went all the way down here. It was kind of like I kind of like told my cousin, I'm not trading. I'm one who don't trade. Like, I'm not going to do any. Again, I'm a directional. A lot of times I'm doing directional trades when I'm scalping, doing my in my smaller account and stuff. But in my other things, I sold my calls. I had already sold my calls. Had decided I was going to sell some puts on some things that I liked, and sell them at a price that I didn't mind owning them. So I had done all that already. So again, now I was just kind of like just watching stuff still dropping. Some of them still dropped, and I ended up rolling. So you play that game, But on the picture here, like I say, right now with this big push that we had on Friday, this push back up here ended up with this green candle below a support 3 level. That's kind of like usually my buy. But it didn't really work out Thursday. As you can see, it kissed here and didn't really come back up that high. Then we ended up gapping down a little bit because this thing opened, went down even more, then came back up. So that would have been I didn't trade at all. Like I said, I didn't trade other than just protecting my stuff from other accounts and stuff. But it was a crazy day. I was actually even on the road. I didn't even want to be in front of the computer. Now come next week, we're going to be opening up. This is why I'm still concerned about the downside. We're going to be opening up below pivot. We could end up trying to break this area. It's going to be a crazy day come Monday. We could try to get, and again, it came down to about 600 I'm looking at here, and then bounce. And you had this little demand area here where it ran out of here. So we're going to have to see what's going to happen here on Monday. If it breaks below 600 and end up closing below 600, that's where we can end up going even lower and get confirmation of that bearish pattern that we saw on that higher time frame back here on this weekly picture. But I kind of don't expect that. But as we all know, anything can happen in the market, So be careful. And that's all I really got to share here on the NASDAQ 100. All right. Hope you guys had a great week. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Bye.